Our Spice Baraza, of course, happening every Wednesday, where we look at issues, and we're talking about issues that are actually alive on the ground, and then being able to interrogate these a little bit more. So our panel is already seated here. We'll get into that in just a minute. But then also we are joined and will be joined by a number of others. Claudia Lagat is the Associate Program Officer with Policy Engagement at the Usawa Agenga. Good morning, Claudia.
Good morning. How are you?
Very well. Karibu sana.
Asante. Also,
Mwalimu Amunga is an education advocate and researcher at Kewata. He's also here. Good morning.
Good morning. Good to see you all.
Good to see you. Karibu sana. Is Eric Ambuche here? He is also the founder of the Slums Outreach Program. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Very well, thank you.
Thank you.
Karibu sana. And of course, everybody else who's here. Good morning. Habari zenu?
Nzuri sana.
Karibuni sana. Asante sana for joining us this morning. Thank you for being able to do this. Why we have this Spice Baraza is for us to be able to look in depth and talk to the situations on the ground. We can sit on a pedestal sometimes and we can have conversations where we really don't understand what is really going on. So we will talk about those issues. They might be uncomfortable, they might be celebratory, but we'll do it anyway. And so that's why we do this today. We would like, maybe we'll just do this with Claudia this morning. Dennis is going to share a proverb, and it might actually give us some insight into what we'll discuss today. Proverb is from Comoros. We'd love to get your interpretation of it.
So the Comoros people who are known for the resources when it comes to making perfume, fragrance, vanilla comes from that country. And it is a country as well who depends on remittances from citizens from that country who live outside, who send money back home to help push the economy. But let's go to the proverb today. The sun does not forget a village just because it is small. The sun does not forget a village just because it is small. How would you interpret that?
I would interpret it as a way of having ingrown solutions and being able to look back and support initiatives where we are. Mm-hmm. So that we're not looking externally for support, but what can we do to support the people where we've come from? Yeah,
interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. That we need to look at what solutions we have, that nothing is too small to be considered.
Indeed. Mm-hmm. All right. We want to know what's happening with the state of education in the country, for us to understand it from the people's point of view, but then also to then get some guidance in terms of then what should be the case. And maybe things are going on very well, and it's also for us to have an understanding. We know from a public point of view, the government tells us all the time that everything is going on great, that things have moved, and that children are being educated and the systems are working. All right. We want to hear. Somebody also challenged us one day, and they said, you guys are sitting in an office somewhere high up there and talking about these things, but you have no idea what is really happening with the children who have to go to school every day. You have no idea. You think that there are students, 40 of them in a class, taught by a teacher and their assistant. They have access to books and they're okay. But the majority are in a different situation. So let's get a bit of that understanding in terms of what's really happening in the positions. And I'll hand over to you, Dennis, to let us know what's going on first.
Yeah, so I think let's just get the feeling from us here. So you could go first, just explain to us the situation in Kovipiko ground. Is it as we are told by the government, or what exactly are the parents feeling, including teachers and students themselves?
Yeah, good morning, everybody. My name is Eric Ambuche, and without much ado, I'll go straight to what's happening on ground. And I'll talk from the ground of Mukuru, where I come from. And the reason I'm here is because I've been highlighting the inequalities that do exist in the Embakasi South, to be specific. So when you hear that this is the ratio, the UNESCO ratio between a teacher and a pupil, which is 1 to 40, in Mukuru it is not that way. You'll find that the two public schools that we have there, the ratio is 1 to 100. So some of these things, as you highlight them here at the top, on ground is different.
1 to 100 what, Sambuche? One teacher to 100 students.
Students, and even there are classes with 105. So you can imagine, I know I've been in classrooms whereby the teacher has only the space to stand and teach, but she or he cannot move around the classroom to check what is happening. So you can imagine what is happening there. Then the mushrooming of upbet schools.
What is upbet?
These informal schools. I hope Amunga understands that better. These the mushrooming of those informal schools. They are in hundreds. They're in hundreds, and they do not follow the required checklist, the recommended standards. Whereby a school has no playground, a school has no even space for a flagpole, or even a pail to put some flowers. So you'll find that on Wednesday or Fridays, kids lining up to travel to walk for 3 kilometers to look for open space. This is the real situation in Mukuru.
Eric, are those umezita aje?
Upbet.
Yeah.
You've said they're informal and they're mushrooming all over the place. Are they recognized by the government?
Yeah,
Are they following the government curriculum?
What happens, I did highlight this story to the CS, Mr. Ogamba. That was last year, around November, when the case from FOS were facing their exams. I did highlight that to Mr. CS Ogamba. What he did, he tasked a few guys for 3 days, and they did a research in Mbaka South. And the report they gave to him was that they wanted to save their job and their image. They did not give him the right story about
Who
what
wanted to save their job?
Huh?
Who wanted to save the
Who wanted to save their jobs?
The education officials. The education officials.
From
And
the constituency.
Mbaka South.
So what was the issue that necessitated that report?
That things were not going right as far as the schools are supposed to be run. That we are having so many schools without following the required threshold.
So hizo shule ziko recognized by the government ama hapana?
Recently, 2 weeks ago, I did visit even the education office, and I thank God I met 2 ladies who are from the what we call QS, the quality assurance. And I asked them, are you aware of these GIS schools that exist in the slums? They said they know, but accessibility is a challenge to them. They can't access those. And remember, I'm talking to these are the QS, but they can't access those schools. So I asked them, have you accredited them? They said those schools are not accredited. And I told them, how come that our children are in those schools? If you haven't accredited them, then why are they running?
So let me just get it. So it is a school that is students are inside.
Yes.
Students can access it.
Yes.
But quality assurance cannot access
are
it.
unable to access those schools.
And at the end of the day, these same students will sit the same exams as all the other students.
The same exam, if it's KGSA from NEC, they will sit for that exams.
How do you have a school that is not accredited sit an exam, and then there will be results which will be sent into a system which is not accredited, and these students will somehow be... I'm confused.
Yes.
Good morning, everyone. I can shed some little light on this. My name is Amunga Hanyalabandu. I have worked with a group called Bridge International Schools Academies, and what my brother Ambuche is talking about, Eric, is about alphabet schools. These are alternative schools that actually, they may not be recognized officially, but they are allowed to operate by government. Government knows they exist, because in a slum area like Mukuru, where our brother is talking about, where he operates from, you can't be able to register a school. A school, you need enough playing ground, you need enough registered teachers, you need all these things possible put together. That's when a school gets recognized officially and given a license to operate. There are regulations for a school to operate. Now, what happens in a place like Mukuru, like Madare, like most slums, even in Kisumu, I worked in Kisumu, what happens is that there's no enough ground, there's no space for this kind of schools to operate. Even the government itself, as he puts it, in a population like in Madari slums, with a population of almost 200, something like that, 1,000, you may discover government has only 2 schools, public schools. Now that means alternative schools have to be brought in. Most times they start as ECD, like nursery schools, but they continue to offer up to where we have national exams.
And who owns these schools?
Now, these schools most times are owned by individuals and some organizations, like now what I'm calling the Bridge International Academies. They'll come in to offer alternative. They discuss with government. Government knows them. You cannot say they are not, okay, they don't have the license to operate, but they are recognized as alternative. They can be able to give children or learners access to education. Now,
yes, before you continue,
yes, please.
They do not have license to operate, but they're operating anyway. They have been recognized. So for a school to operate, there are some quality checks that they have to meet for them to be registered. So my question then is, if you look at the 2 schools, say, that are in Embakasi South and compared to the Upbed that do not have all these other facilities, do we worry or do we care about the quality of education we're giving to these children? Or are we just in terms of, let us tick the boxes because the Constitution says every child has the right to education? Does quality matter?
Yes, I will, okay, since I have the mic, let me say this. So the quality, this is what happens. The people who are offering this alternative, they are the ones, again, most times, who try to help the government. Actually, this is an assistance to the government. Alternative schools are kind of helping the government to provide education in the slum. Okay. They regulate themselves almost. They go about looking for their own type of teachers. Like the Bridge Academies that I worked with would actually come up with a way of teaching methodology that was a bit different from the regular school. They had their own research. They even had funding from the World Bank. I want to say this also. These Upbed schools, as much as they are sometimes individually owned, sometimes they also have recognition from world bodies who understand the need for education in those areas that government is not providing. Now, my brother, when you talk about quality in such a situation or access to education, these schools are what I will call like say in Nairobi town, we have got matatus. Some time back, we had even government transport. But we have people provide transport that are not, maybe, for example, they may not be having all the license, they may not be having the PSV license, but they are able to provide transport. Now,
until you get an accident,
until something happens,
insurance.
And that is the problem. For Upbed schools, until something happens, they are operating.
I think we'd like to hear from folks around us and see exactly what the situation is on ground when we're sending children to school and finding out what, if this actually is an alternative or what exactly is happening. Then we'll come back to Claudia and find out, okay, so how should we be operating? So let's hear from some of us here. School, what is it like in the areas where we are this morning? Just tell us your name, sir, and
just stand so they can see you. Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Can I stand?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Good morning. So my name is Dennis Baraza. Venye ndugu zangu wamesema kuna vitu wanasema lakini they are not right. Like for Embakasi East, let's go for specifically Lower Savannah. They have just one public school. One, Edivale. So imagine a whole ward, just one. Upper Savannah have one, Donholm Primary.
When you say one, iko na population ya watoto wangapi? That one school.
Sorry?
Population.
Like 10,000.
10,000.
Yeah. Then when you go there, na hiyo si ati ndio watoto wenye wako hiyo ward peke yao. There are so many. So imagine if a school iko hivyo, na tena pia kuingiza mtoto kwa hiyo shule is another, ni kama kuenda kutafuta kazi tena.
Kwa nini?
Kwa sababu lazima ukuwe na pesa extra ndio uingize huyo mtoto kwa hiyo shule. You must pay
Ngoja kidogo. So ndio kweli kwa ground So uko na mtoto ama uko na watoto kwa nyumba, unataka waanze shule. So unaenda kwa hii shule moja peke yake that is supposed to serve over 10,000 umesema. So unakutana na mwalimu mkuu ama whoever is in charge, administrator. So unataka watoto waingie shule. Hiyo process inakuangaje?
Now the process is very hectic. Hata unaweza achana nayo heri upeleke mtoto kwa shule yenye haina karatasi.
What?
Let me tell you now. Because at the end of the day, wazazi wenye wako hapa atakubaliana na mimi. I better nipeleke mtoto wangu kwa shule yenye haina karatasi kushinda kwenda kwa shule yenye ya public school.
Why?
Because the public school, one, wanasema is free, but it's not free. Because I must have like 10,000 cash. Ya kuhonga kwanza.
Ya kuhonga mtoto
before anything, before I buy anything. Before I buy anything, before I pay desk, whatever and everything, I must have 10,000.
So who are you giving the
10,000 sasa?
Sasa unaona sasa hiyo ni the least I should have.
So hiyo 10,000, 20,000 ni ya kuhonga mwalimu mkuu.
Kumpe, alafu akwambie desk ya mtoto ni hii. Haya mtoto na hiyo desk hakuna. Because venye tu amesema mtoto mwalimu mmoja atasimama kama leo nimesimama hapa na watoto wamekaa chini wote ama wamesimama wamefinyana mahali pamoja.
So but kuna kitu kingine utalipa?
And you have already paid for a desk.
What?
A desk.
So umelipa
any school, and anybody who is in this room can tell you that when you go to that school you must pay for a desk.
Hiyo ni pesa ngapi?
Like 1,000.
So kuna hiyo 10,000 ya kuhongana kwanza. Then another 1,000 in your desk.
Na then once registration ulipe nini, that is telling you 20,000. You'll get
or everything inakuja saa 20,000.
You can pay 20,000. Na imagine some mtu anapeleka how big school, he'll just maybe 5,000 or 6,000. Then ameingiza mtoto school. Lakini as much as those things are not working. So even if we may say that those half big schools are not working, and are illegal, but they're just alternative for us. And you look, even the government, they say that they are funding education in the budget. 675,000 billion is the financial year, in this financial year. But can we ask how much have they put in low education in primary?
I think that's a good question to ask.
Because even if you ask the Minister of Education, he'll tell you how funds, but how much? He'll just tell you. Hata even Ruto akisimama hapa atawaambia, Mr. President, a quarter or a third of the budget is for education. But education is not working. Let's be realistic now. It's not working. Because if you go for my word, it's just having one school, which is a public school. What do we need? What's the priority? Will you come and build us a road? Then we don't have a school.
Okay.
Then you are putting 675 billion on education that we are not seeing that amount going anywhere. Because at the end of the day, hiyo shule yenye hata iko mtaa, kitu anaweza fanya ni kupaka rangi. Si atu kuleta klasi ingine. Si kujenga ni kupaka. The last year, and you can and someone can be in this room and someone can do the investigation. Edville Primary, last year, in financial year, someone can go and check even in CDF funds. What they did, walipaka rangi. The government never provided anything in that school. You see how that's now is a difficult situation where we are.
Kuna budget imepitishwa.
Na budget imepitishwa. So what's the essence of us paying tax, then me kuweka mtoto wangu kwa shule ambayo haitanisaidia? As much as they saying everything is free, but at the end of the day, and then the what we call ECD. The county government should provide for us ECD classes, so that even kama tutapata ile advantage ya kwenda kwa hiyo development school, we should have an ECD class. We don't have even an ECD class.
Let's hear from some others. If we want to know what the situation is actually. All right.
I think, and then let's hear from a lady as well later.
Hamjambo. Nadhani mimi nasikitika sana kwamba nimesimama hapa siku ya leo kuzungumza kuhusu elimu ambayo kikwangu mimi ninavyokuwa naiona imedorora mahali pakubwa sana. Naitwa Benson Mbulika Aziz. Na hii inatokana na kwamba mambo ambayo tunaambiwa kwamba yanafanyika huko kwenye runinga tunavyokuwa tunayaonaga ni sawa tu, tunaambiwa kwamba shule zinakwenda sawa, kila kitu kipo sawa, lakini hizi shule lazima uende ukaingie. Mimi nampeleka mwanangu skuli, nikaenda nikaambiwa haya, sasa yule ambaye utakwenda kumuona naibu mwalimu mkuu. Unakwenda kwa naibu mwalimu mkuu, anakuambia hapana, mimi siwezi kuzungumza na wewe. Pale kile chumba kile kina mtu mwingine fulani, nenda kwanza kamuone. Anakuuliza ameshafanya interview? Ndio, amefanya interview. Haya, amepasi yeye. Sasa huyo kwanza anakuambia simu yako kama unayo zima. Toa kile ambacho utatoa umpe. Na hilo lipo hivyo kila sehemu, yani kila mtu anajua. Ukishampa kile ambacho unampa, haya anakuletea orodha ya vitu ambavyo unahitaji kununua. Anakuambia hapa kwanza leta dawati, unanunua dawati. Mimi nilinunua dawati shilingi 3500. Moja tu. Na hilo dawati hakuikalia. Ikaja kuwa kwamba darasa lile ambalo walikuwa kisomea paa iliporomoka. Wakiwa wamo ndani paa ikaporomoka. Tukapigwa simu, oya vipi? Njooni kabisa, tulifanya mchango katika shule ya umma. Tulifanya mchango. Na tunaambiwa sijui kuna nini, kuna sijui inaitwa nini. Yaani unashangaa sisi katika shule za umma ambazo tunalipa ushuru, tusomeshe watoto bure bilashi. Ambiwa unakwenda tena unatoa hela nyingine, unaambiwa sijui vyoo havipo, vyoo vimeharibika. Tunasomesha watoto katika mazingira magumu, na tunashangaa kwamba shule ambayo anasoma binti yangu wanasoma wanafunzi wapo 69 katika darasa moja. 69 chumba kimoja. Sasa unapata pana walimu wawili. Mwalimu mmoja lazima anawaambia kule yule ukopiga wengine kelele, keep quiet ili yule mwingine asomeshe. Maana wale ni watoto. Sasa unashinda huyu mwalimu mwingine kazi yake gani?
Benson,
tafadhali
kidogo.
Naam.
So, hili darasa lina wanafunzi umesema 69
ndio.
Okay, so 69 walimu ni wawili.
Walimu ni wawili.
So wamejigawa nusu kwa nusu, so ni subject mbili zinafunzwa at the same time ama kunaendaje?
Huyu mmoja ni kama ana control traffic vile. Kule kuambia oya, tulieni. Halafu ndio yule mwingine asomeshe. Hizi shule nakwambia ndugu yangu Dennis Okari zina matatizo. Na mimi mwenyewe sikuambii kitu ambacho labda nimeambiwa na mtu. Ninakwenda siku moja kwenda kumwona binti yangu katikati ya somo. Nikamwambia mwalimu nataka kidogo. Yaani lile vurugu mechi katika hizi shule, hata sisi katika ubora na ubaya wa masomo ambayo tulisoma kipindi kile hatukuwa na changamoto kama tulizokuwa nazo sasa hivi katika madarasa yetu.
Na mwanawake kuja nyumbani katika hayo mazingira, kuna elimu yoyote ameipata ama ukizungumza naye unapata kuna kitu ameelewa ameshika darasani? Sasa bahati mbaya ama bahati nzuri ni kwamba labda inabidi wengine tuwaajiri na walimu wengine ziada. Aje nyumbani, akija nyumbani anakutana na sasa huyu mwalimu aliyokuwa nyumbani huyu ndiye kidogo tunaona kwamba ni mwalimu. Wale wengine kazi zao ni kuja kuuliza, oya hamkulipa sijui zile nini, zile pesa za jioni zile remedial. Na hizo pesa wanazidai kama madeni.
Remedial.
Wanadai hizo pesa kama madeni, kana kwamba mtu anakudai figo. Yani wana machungu sana hizo hela. Alafu bwana ukija kuchelewa tu mwalimu yeye anakukondoleje, unasema hivi
Benson. Umejiuliza if a remedial teacher ndio mwenye anafunza mwanao, mbona upeleke mtoto skuli? Have you ever asked yourself that question?
I have. Now let me ask you my brother, let me ask you like this. If the government has said that if you do not take your child to school, we shall come for you. It means the government is forcing us to do something whose benefit we do not even realize. Now I'm forced to take my child not because I want to. I'm taking my child to school because it's protocol. It's that's the rule of the day. But if it were to be my choice, I would have rather sat at home with my daughter and taught her myself because I think I'm capable. Because if a teacher writing one sentence in English, this sentence is a comment in a child's diary. It has a grammatic mistake.
Then mwalimu?
Yes, and I didn't. I think I wish I did that. I came with that. So you realize this teacher, in that one sentence, if she or he can make a mistake, how many mistakes can he make? Can he or she make while maybe correcting a child in a writing composition? We have a problem, and I think it's not even about these teachers. The whole system, I think, is rotten. Because if those days we used to have what we call education officers, they used to come to schools, maybe they talk to the teachers. Sometimes they used to come and take our books, go through. We don't see those things nowadays. People are talking about, how can I be president in 2027? How am I going to get a tender from this place and this other place? We have left. We, the voters, are on our own. We, Wananchi, are on our own. And I think this is a mistake that we made for ourselves. We don't have to blame anyone, because when we go to the debe, we go and elect people who look like us, who think like us, who reason like us, who stay with us, who call themselves names that we are familiar with.
All right, let's hear from a lady here and just hear Anania kusema. Yeah.
Good morning.
Morning.
My name is Agnes. Mimi nasema ukweli. Niko na watoto. In 2022 nilienda hiyo shule moja kupeleka watoto. Nilitishwa 10,000 na desk.
Hiyo Lower Savannah sasa. O Upper Savannah.
Mukulu Jenga.
Okay.
10,000 niko na 3 kids. Sasa nikajiuliza, hao watoto wote watatu nitatoa every kid 10,000 na desk 3,500 kila mtoto. Mimi nikaona badala ya kuenda pale kupeana hizo pesa, eli nikibie pale private, hapo nitasota. Hata kama ni 3,000 ni 5,000, hapo kwanza waingie shule.
Nina swali mami. Hii hongo, because everybody is talking about 10,000 20, it's like it's official.
Yes.
So hii pesa ukienda pale shuleni, ni nani anakuitisha?
Unaitishwa hiyo. Ukienda
ni nani yeye anakuitisha hapo sasa?
Headmaster, kuenda kuongea, unaambiwa kwanza kama huna hiyo 10k hakuna kuongea.
Yaani kufanya mkutano na headmaster,
yes.
10,000 lazima uwe nayo kando.
Ofisi. Hiyo 10,000 na desk.
This desk, sorry. desk. This desk is in this classroom where the mali mtoto ataenda kusoma. Ni yake. Hii desk ni yake ama ni ya shule? So mkimaliza shule mnarudi na desk yenu ama mrudisha pesa ama ni nini?
It is like buying space. Just buying space.
You're buying space.
Or you're booking space.
You're booking space. Yes. But you don't see your desk mwenyewe haoni.
So that
seriously?
Yes.
Desk is space.
So
like the way you rent a house. So you're taking a child to rent a space in a classroom.
Yes. And it's 10,000 shillings. Yes. Non-refundable.
Yes.
All right.
No, 3,500. The desk space is 3,500.
Separate from this 10,000 that you're paying this man to have a meeting with him.
The 10,000 is like a bribe for the headmaster to talk to you.
Alhamdulillah. Okay, so now when we are asking this question about, so mtoto sasa ameingia shule juu ameona headmaster na 10,000 shillings, amelipa 3,500 shillings ndio waingie. Kuna pesa nyingine mnaita?
Yes.
Gani hiyo?
Lemedio. Atakuwa anafukuzwa
tuition.
Hata saa hii tukikuja hivi tunakuja tumepata watoto wa hizo public schools wako kwa ajili wanarudi nyumbani.
Kwa nini?
Wamefukuzwa.
Remedial.
For rims of paper, some stationery, trips, motivation for teachers to go for some trips.
Motivation. Wait. No. Ndio tuelewe pole pole. Syllabus sasa inaenda haraka. So now kuna motivation mlipa pesa ngapi? 1,000. But hii motivation ni ya watoto ama ni ya mwalimu?
Hiyo.
Motivation humotivate mwalimu ndio wafanye kazi yao. Yes. All right. Nini nyingine?
Kuna activity fee. Hiyo lazima utoe.
Ngapi?
Kuna kuna Rigana, kuna wenye watakuitisha 350, kuna yani 500, kuna Rigana. Kuna hii mtihani exams unaitishwa, unaambiwa ni 40 bob 50. Yani ukifanya hesabu unaona inaligana na ile ya private school. Unaona ni kama ya private school. Sasa ukiligana ukipeleka mtoto pale public hakuna masomo. Sababu ukienda pale unaona watoto wamefanya homework, lakini mwalimu hata kuwa na hiyo ya kufanya ya kumark your homework. Watoto unapata class moja ni 90 pupils. Sasa mwalimu atamark aje hizo vitabu vyote vya watoto hao 90. Sasa watoto wanafanya ku-exchange vitabu.
Ndio nini fanya?
Huyu mark yangu na mimi ni mark yake.
Watoto.
Yes.
Watoto ndio wana mark vitabu za subject.
Yes.
It's common. What are you talking about?
Wait. So is there a possibility that what Benson was reading was from a student? the correction yenye alikuwa anasema ni ya mwalimu. Inaweza kuwa ni ya student.
What happens juu watoto ni wengi. These public schools tunaongea mambo ya watoto from 90 to 100. Na juu wako wengi unajua inakuwa impossible mwalimu kwenda round akimakia. Na mkumbuke tukianza we said even the teacher teaching this classroom anasimama tu, hana space ya kwenda round. So inakuwa rahisi mwalimu ndiye akona marking scheme, so atasoma tu watoto wame exchange vitabu. So mwalimu ndiye atasoma.
So mwalimu ana mark vitabu ya kwanza alafu anapeana kwa watoto ndio waendelee ku mark zingine. No. Ni compare na hiyo.
The teacher has the marking scheme. Yeah. Let's say we have like 10 questions So kids the 90 or 100 kids will exchange books. Unaambiwa peana kitabu nyuma ama peana mbele, itategemea. Then now it is the teacher with the marking scheme atasoma what is the correct answer on number 1 or how that formula is. Then the other kids will mark. Then watafanyia hesabu.
All right.
I think Ndu. Let's just look at what that means. This is the state of education that we have in the country.
All right. We're going to come back and get some more because it's necessary for us to hear from everybody. So we'll do that in a bit. But let's hear from Claudia. That's what we hear so far. What should it look like?
I appreciate the honesty of the participants in the room because that is the reality of our Kenyan education system. The Constitution mandates the government to be able to provide free and compulsory basic education to every child in Kenya, right? And even the UNESCO report says that, it's not just enough to take the children to school, but the question that we should be asking ourselves as stakeholders in this nation is, are our children learning? In Usawa agenda, we are big on equity, right? We are big on equity and evidence-based policy making and decisions. That is why we are big on data. We collect data on learning levels or learning assessments, learning outcomes for children in all the 47 counties. And actually, our report, I'll refer to our report in 2023, confirms what the stakeholders in the room are saying, especially issues of infrastructure. It's still a problem, and I will refer to the Nairobi report so that I provide accurate information. For example, when we were collecting data, because you collect both household and school indicators and as well as assess children, at the school level, when we visited the schools in Nairobi, a total of 10.6 of learners were absent from school that particular day. Reason? They had been sent home for levies or school fees. That confirms. Because already now, there are this costs that, the parents have to pay in school. It can be remedial, it can be activity fee. But some of them were absent from school that particular day when we visited because of school levies. That is a challenge in our current education sector. When you look at aspect of pupil-teacher ratio, we are referring to data because of our agenda. We are big on data, and it confirms again what they are saying. In Nairobi County, the ratio is 50-1 on average. That means one teacher, an average 50 students, but can be more based on what we've had, especially in the informal settlements. What does that mean to us? Right? What does that mean? Are these children getting quality learning, considering that the general standard is 1-40, and currently even in Kenya is 45-1? That means we're even beyond the standard of pupil-teacher ratio in Kenya. Thirdly, I would like to talk about infrastructure. For example, majority of the schools in Nairobi do not have playgrounds. As we think about CBC, what does that mean? Right? The way they are saying they have to go to a different or rent a space for them to be able to enjoy sports or participate in physical activities. There's a problem. And our data from Usawa Agenda Report, Foundational Literacy and Numeracy Assessment Report, indicates that a total almost 48.8% of schools in Nairobi do not have playing fields.
They're buying a desk, Claudia. They're not buying there's no space for. They're buying a desk.
Exactly. And the other issue you're looking at now, sanitation and toilets in school. Already they're not even learning well in school. The environment in school is not even conducive for them to learn. On average, one toilet serves a total of 87 children per day. Look at the situation of our schools, and that translates to the learning outcomes, right? What does that mean? You would find that in schools in Nairobi, a total of, in terms of learning outcomes, over 50.6% of grade 4 learners cannot read a grade 3 English story or do division in mathematics, a grade 4. What does that mean? That means our children are just moving from one class to another without acquiring the necessary competencies based on Usawa data. This is evidence. It's not story. This is based on Usawa data, 2023. They're just moving from one level to another. What do we think as a nation? Because if you're not even focusing resources on foundational learning, which means early years of education, when you're constructing a building, what is the most important thing that you focus on? It's the foundation. The foundation determines how high that building will go. So the problem even in Kenya right now, our foundation has a problem because of the challenges that the stakeholders in this room are saying, and our data actually unearths those particular challenges.
Okay.
I could go on and on data, because you find, like in Nairobi, for example, there are a total of 31% public primary schools. That means the rest are private schools.
Yeah, because I keep asking the question,
the
when
rest are private
is the
schools.
last time you saw that there was a construction from ground
Exactly.
up of a public school?
Exactly.
And I would like to hear from this. We're going to come back, Claudia, because
Sure.
obviously the fundamental issues here that we are dealing with. So some questions come into play. If we're talking about 105 students in a class, smaller than this studio, right? And the teacher doesn't even have a place to stand, then this story of a playground where they play is a dream. It doesn't happen. But I want to go back to this 7,000 to 10,000 shillings that is being paid to the head teacher, headmaster. Is it known? Kila mtu anajua na that yo pesa ni ya mfuko yake. Kila mtu anajua ama wanasemanga yo pesa ni ya nini? Let's hear from you, and then give us your experience as well. So the gentleman in the back, in the blue, and then we'll come to you in the back. Okay, let's start with the brown.
Thank you. Morning. Morning.
Yes.
My name is Aeno Kandika.
Just hold your mic up.
I'm also from Lower Savannah, Embakasi.
I think your mic is off. Yeah.
It's on.
Yeah.
Aeno Kandika from Embakasi, Lower Savannah. My name is Aeno Kandika from Lower Savannah, Embakasi. I think the only thing here, when it comes to, I think I'll dwell on two things. One, infrastructure, and then two, the quality of education that we have for our kids. Me, being one of the parents. So we've got a real challenge here. So wakati serikali inasema leteni watoto, tunataka wasome bure, tunataka wasome bure. Hapo ndio kuna maneno. Hapo ndio tunapata kizaazaa. So
all right. Let's just hold on for a minute as we try to get that mic back, because we can't hear you very well, unfortunately. Let's just hold on and see if we can get that sound issue sorted. Dennis, just let me know if you can hear.
Yeah, so question is, still there's a problem.
Okay, we need to come back and sort out that mic issue also, Mike, because we're not getting it, but we'll come back to you in just a minute. We'll just come back and then we'll go to the top of the hour as we try to sort out that sound issue. So please just hold on to that thought. Claudia, as we go to the top of the hour, because we're going to come back and do this for another hour, I am still on that place where we're looking at a foundation of some of these issues here, whereby it's known, it's practice. And we were looking at folks who are talking to us also on our socials this morning. And what are they telling us? I've also bought the desk for 2 PP2 and PP1 pupils. I've paid 7,000 to 10,000 shillings in order for them to get to see my student. We've been told here as well that the ministry is aware of this. What did you call those schools? AFBET schools. They are aware.
Alternative provision of basic education.
They know that the schools exist. They know that they're operating subpar, but they kind of let it go. Bora Shule is where we are right now. Bora Elimu, right?
Yeah.
How are we going to work like that?
This is the reality, but something has to shift. Yeah, because there's a report that was done recently by Each Rights. Yeah, I just want to unpack the issue, right? I would give an example of Mathare, for example, Mathare Slum, Mathare Informal Settlement. There are 149 private schools, 17 are registered by the government, Ministry of Education. 107 of them are not registered by the government, but registered by other organizations like Ministry of Social Protection, Ministry of Gender, and Ministry of Labor. And that is where majority of learners in the informal settlements attend. That's not, it's the reality. AFBET schools are big and functioning in the informal settlements because As we all understand, the population of Kenyan cities, around approximately 70% of them live in the informal settlements. And approximately 60% of these learners go to the upbet or low-cost private schools. They're actually low-cost private schools. Because if you're looking at an alternative provision of basic education, that means it's supposed to cater for a particular group of students. That's why it's alternative, right?
Not everybody.
Not everybody. And it's tailored curriculum. For example, let me talk about maybe children, teenage mothers. They cannot come to school in the morning and evening. There's a tailored, curriculum for them, or structure of learning. They come at this particular time and leave. That's an alternative, because you want everyone to get education. But what is happening in the informal settlements is actually low-cost private schools. They're not alternative. They are low-cost private schools run by individuals. Majority actually run by individuals, others by faith-based organizations, others by foreign organizations running them in the informal settlements. And the reality is, quality is wanting. Quality is wanting. Let me refer to one initiative that was done by the government in 2019. It was a government led initiative for mapping out informal schools in informal settlements. The reality that they found, and these are issues known, in terms of ownership, 41.4% are owned by individuals of this in the slums. 11.2% are owned by faith-based organizations. 2.5% are owned by foreign organizations. In terms of registration, this is a sad reality. 16.2% of those schools are not registered anywhere, and they're running.
And they're sitting students with examinations.
And they're running, yes. And 12.7% are registered by MOE. This is what they're talking about. These are facts. 71.4% are registered by
So how do
others.
students sit for national exams?
I don't understand.
There's a lapse in our education system.
This is not a lapse. This is a big gaping hole. Let's take a break at this point. Let's take a break at the top of the hour. We're going to come back and we're going to look at these issues. We want to hear from everybody here to then be able to tell us what is the situation. Only when we talk about these things in the open can we then be able to look towards solution. It's 9:01. SpiceFM Baraza continues after this. Don't go away.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.